Hello, my crafty friends. Today I'm going to be making a quick and easy Mother's Day card. We're going to do this in 3 easy steps. We're going to pick a cute image that we can color, and then we're going to color it with your favorite medium. I'm going to use alcohol markers today, but you can use whatever you like. And then we're going to stamp a sentiment, and that's going to be our quick and easy card today. So I've got this Bunches of Blooms from Stamps of Life. I really like this flower display here, but the words don't really go with Mother's Day, but I think these are really pretty, so I'm going to pick this image. But I've also got these other 2 stamp sets here. One is from Simon Says Stamp, and this one is from Concord and Ninth. And this one does have Mom, and then it has some different little sentiments here, so you can pause and read all that if you want. But this one has some great ones, different ones for like nieces, nephews. But I really like the sentiment in here, Happy Mother's Day. So I might end up using that. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp this out. So let me get my stamp positioner tool and we'll get going. So I've just got a 5.5 by 4.25 piece of Hammermill cardstock here. And I'm going to grab this little bunch of flowers out. And we're going to position this where we want it. So I'm thinking we're going to have our stamp here, maybe on the left-hand side somewhere. And I think I'm going to use this Happy Mother's Day sentiment. Now, normally I do a little bit of real time and then I kind of speed some up as well, but I may end up doing it all in real time in this video and all of the coloring in real time just to try something a little bit different. So let me know in the comments down below which you prefer. Do you prefer a little bit of real time and sped up, or do you want the whole thing in real time? I love the font of these two, and this has some really cute little like splatter patterns here. That would be really cute if you like to control your splatters. But I'm going to just get this positioned where I like it, probably about kind of halfway-ish. So I wanted something like this, and I'm just trying to look at the borders of my card just to make sure I kind of have the same space in between things. But I'm going to go ahead and move the sentiment right now because I am going to heat emboss this, I think, and then that way I don't have to worry about anything moving with my alcohol markers. I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss with some clear heat embossing powder, but I'm just going to use my Archival black ink for this. And if I'm quick enough, I can get this stamped down and then I can heat emboss it without needing to use any embossing powder. But you could always stamp it, let it dry, and then go ahead and come in with some embossing afterwards. I'm going to stamp this right on my card. And I'm going to do one more just to make sure I get a good impression. And I'm going to make sure I push it down right in the middle here. Okay, that's better. So we're going to just get this off. We're going to move this out of the way. I'll clean that up afterwards. Bring in some paper, bring in... Ooh, and I've already made a little smudge there, but that's okay. We'll try to fix that. And I'm just going to get this right on here. And I like to give it a little tap. And sometimes I go in with a second one. So I zoomed in quite a bit for the coloring part here, and I am going to use my Copic and Ohuhu alcohol markers. But this is what our little stamped image looks like once I've heat embossed it. Now I did have a couple little spots here on the card where I got a little bit of black ink. I think I had a little bit of ink on my fingers, and I just took a sanded eraser and just lightly erased it a little bit, and that worked to kind of get most of that off. And these are some of the colors that I'm going with for this card. So I'm doing sort of like a blue, purple, and a bluish pink colors. I've got 3 of each, and I'll tell you exactly what ones I'm using as I go through this. I've got some yellows here, some greens, and then some light blues. So I think I'll start with the yellows, and I'm going to go with my darkest color first. And I'm going to get this right around here because I want the centers of my flowers to be dark. I'm just going to do both flowers here at the same time. You could come in with a little bit of brown around the centers if you want. So this was Y38 honey, and this is going to be Y19. You could do a little bit of brown around the edges if you wanted to, but I'm just going to make these fairly simple and just do yellows. And then I'm coming in with the Y040 from my Ohuhus, and I'm just using this to kind of smooth everything out and brighten it a little bit. And then I'm going to use these same colors, I think, to do the bow here. So I'm going to come in with that darkest yellow, and I want to get this where the shadow areas are going to be on our bow. So I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to get this on the sides here. And underneath. I'm going to bring this color out just a little bit more, because I know once we start layering our lighter colors over it, it will kind of tone it down a little bit. Bring just a tiny bit around the edges there. And then I'm going to come in with that middle color, the Y19. And this is just a slight transition color, so I'm just putting this very lightly next to our other dark color. It's just because between the light and the darkest color, it's a little bit like too further from each other, so I need a little bit of a transition color in there. And then I'm going to come in with my lightest color, that Y040, and again I'm just going to go over everything and brighten it up. And I really like having like really light areas and really dark areas. I find that contrast gives like a more 3D look for what I'm going for, but you can color it however you like. It doesn't mean you have to color it the way that I do. And you can always come back in and touch up some areas. But again, just choose some colors that are close to this, and you can do this with any medium that you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be alcohol markers. So I wonder... I'm just going to leave that on the side there so you can kind of see, but I'm going to come in with my pinky colors here, and this is R240, and I think I want this big one here to be this color, so I'm going to again start with the darkest color, and I'm going to get some of this down, and I'm going to come in with my medium color. Actually, I could probably pull the dark out a little bit more, but we'll see. And then I'm going to come in, so this was the RV17, and then I'm coming in with my RV34 just to get this nice transition. And then I like taking my lightest one and just going over everything and smoothing that out, and I think that's a really nice transition there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the petals. So I'm just going to take my darkest color here, and again where it overlaps I'm going to put a little bit more of this dark color, and then on some of these petals I'm not going to bring it out as much, but here, because this one overlaps, I am going to bring it out. And these little small details helps, you know, make things look a little more realistic. Although with this kind of a stamped image, we can only make it look so realistic, but that's okay. And then I'm going to come in with the RV17, which is my mid-tone here. And again, I'm just getting this up against the dark area. So something like that. And then I'll come in with my lightest color, which is the RV34. And if you notice things are drying too fast and you're not getting a nice blend, then just do a couple of petals at a time. But I find these markers, if you go over them couple of times, they will blend. And they do stay wet for a decent amount of time. So I'm just blending over that edge there just to help it blend out. And I like doing the embossing powder with alcohol markers because it almost gives like this edge, even with watercolor. When I'm putting this up to the edge, it gives me something to kind of stop it from going over. Although sometimes I still get a little messy because I tend to color a little fast. So sometimes I get out of the lines, but that's okay. So I like that combination. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do maybe this little flower and maybe this one in the same combination. So I'm going to get a little bit more of this one here because it's the furthest petal back. And this one here because it's overlapping. Then we'll come in with that middle color. So that was the R240. Then I've got RV17. I'm just going to color all of that one in it because it's in the back. And then I'll come in again with that RV34. I should have just wrote all the numbers down here. I wrote the lightest ones because on the caps it's hard to tell the difference between the lightest ones. So I wrote those down, but I should probably just go ahead and write them all down so I don't have to keep calling them out. Oh, and I did just go over the line there a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take my, what is this? The 01, the colorless blender. And I want to make sure that this is clean. So I'm just going to rub it on a scrap piece of paper. And I can just come in here and just push that color back. So you can use this almost like a little eraser. And we're just going to push that color back in. Now you don't want to do too much at once because it could end up pushing it back a little too far. Or if you're going over it a whole lot, it could make more of the color bleed out. But you can see how it just pushed it back there a little bit. So little tip, you can use this as an eraser, or if you're having an area that doesn't want to blend as nicely, you can use this also as a blending area. So two things there. You know what? I'm going to pause real quick and I'm going to write all of the numbers down here just so you know what they are, and then you can just look at this. So I've all got them written here, and I've got an O for some of the ones that are Ohuhu and a C for the ones that are Copics, just so you know, but I will still put the caps on the screen so you can see here, and I'll say dark, medium, or light, depending what I'm doing. So I'm going to color this little one now, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. But this coloring's not going to take very long, really, so I think I'm just going to do all of this in real time, maybe. And this one is that's my lightest one. I want this one for my next color. And then my lightest color. And I really like this combination. And I don't have certain combinations that I always go to. Like sometimes I just end up choosing similar colors, but I kind of like switch it up sometimes and just pick random colors that I think will go nicely together. So those are our purple, those are our pink flowers, and now we're going to move into our purple flowers. So I'm going to take this one, the V210, and I'm going to do this guy. Now this little piece here I think is part of the stem, so I'm going to do those in green. But this is going to be pretty dark all in here. I think I'm just going to start with 2 petals just to see how I like this color combination. And then let's go in with the V06. Oops, wrong end. And then I will go in with my VO4 for my lightest color. And I think that's going to be really pretty. So I think I'm just going to continue on with those. And again, some of these petals that are, you know, covering, like, we're not going to see a whole lot of the light area in there. Coming in with my medium color. And then coming in with my lightest color. There, I like that. So I'm going to do the same thing for this little flower here. These colors are really pretty. And I'm just feeling something bold. I was going to go with a lighter, like bubblegum pink, and then maybe some oranges or something. But then I saw these colors and I just kind of went with that. But the fun thing about this is you can, you know, grab any colors that you like. Oh no, I did a little too much with those, but that's okay. We're just going to come over top with the lightest one. And then I'm going to come in with my colorless blender, I think, and see if we can't lighten that up. So you'll kind of see how I'm going to come in and do a little bit of erasing with this. And just ever so slightly lighten it. And then again, you want to make sure you're wiping that off. So it just kind of pulls a little bit of that color back out of there. And I don't want to do too much, but I think I like that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do the little paper that they're wrapped in, and I'm going to grab my blues for that. And let's go with the darker blue first. So I've got B32 here, and probably just going to do all of this little area. Now some of these areas are just going to have very small highlight areas in them. There. And I like to recap them as I'm switching markers because I've been known to hold them in my hand and drop them and ruin whatever I was coloring. So now I cap them and put them off to the side just so that I don't risk doing that. And this is a very light, like purpley blue, so I thought just that little added bit of color in there would look nice. And it kind of almost gives it like a transparent kind of look. I like that. So I'm going to go and get this here. I'm going to leave a little bit here where like the light would come. And maybe we'll do this side while we're doing it too. Perfect, like that. And then we'll just get this bottom part. And I'm going to come in with this light one and just blend right over all of it. There. So I'm going to come in and do the stems next. So I'm going to grab my darker one, which is the G270. And I'm going to get this just a little bit on the base and kind of where some of these shadows would be. And then I'll come in with my lighter one, which is going to be the YG03. I need to put a little darker area right here. Let's just fix that. And I'll just get a little bit of this under here too. That's the G270. And then just lightly blend this out. And that is our quick and easy coloring. I say quick and easy, it still takes a little bit of time, but honestly, not that much time. Oh, I missed this little guy over here. So let's get that in. Perfect. So I'm going to grab my stamping tool again because we're going to stamp our little sentiment on the side here. And then I think I'm actually going to stamp something on the inside of the card too, because this is going to go to my mom this year. So Mom, if you're watching, surprise, this is for you. So I've got my sentiment lined up here somewhere in the middle again, and I'm just trying to make sure that the spaces around it are about even. And I'm just going to come in with my Archival ink again. This is one of my favorite inks for little sentiments. Oops. Let's line this up again. And this is why I like to have things down in the corner there, so I can just realign everything easily. And let's just make sure that's going to line up again. Okay, well, that did not line up perfectly and that shifted, but we're going to fix it. I am going to fix this, so I am just going to take a separate little piece of paper and we're going to stamp that out again. So I just put another piece of paper here and I just lined this up in the middle, and we're going to just go ahead and stamp this again and hope that this time it comes out a little bit better. There, so that's a lot better. So what I'm going to do is just fussy cut around this, and then we're going to put that over top of our other sentiment. I was going to have this just a 1 card layer, but I'm probably going to pop this up on some foam now and put it right over top of that. But I'm going to go ahead and just fussy cut this out. Okay, while I have my stamp positioner out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp From Your Favorite Daughter in here because, of course, I am the favorite. I might be the only, but I am the favorite. And let's see if I can do a better job this time. And I just tried to line the daughter word somewhat in the center, but I wanted it up a little above halfway so I could still write something down here. And then I just put From Yours off a little bit because I didn't want it to be in the center. I didn't want everything in the center. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this with my Archival ink and just hope this stamps a little bit better. There, so that did a much better job that time. It stayed in the center, so love that. So I cut around this like this, so that's going to cover that, and I just put some foam tape on there. But let's go ahead and get this on our card. So I am just going to glue this down. Onto the base of our card. And I always love the back side of my Copic marker illustrations because it looks so pretty too. And make sure that it is the right side. And I am just realizing now, I stamped From Your Daughter this way, and my card is going to open this way. I could put it like this, but I would have stamped it the other way, but my mom's just going to laugh about that. But I've already got this done, so I'm not going to restamp it. I'm just going to get this glued down, but I would have stamped it the other way. Just for your knowledge. But I do things a little wonky sometimes, so it is what it is. But my brain just thought of that now. So there you go. You open your card this way and the sentiments like that, but that's okay. Sometimes I'm a little wonky. Now I'm going to get the foam off this, and I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the back of this, and I'm going to use my tweezers to help me kind of line this up, and I am going to stand up because I want to try to get this right over top of this sentiment here, so it's going to hide it perfectly. And then it looks like we meant to pop it up all along until you open the card and find the sentiment on the wrong side in the card. So there you go. So that's our card today. You can see how the foam covers up that sentiment there. Now I'm glad I didn't stamp From Your Brightest Daughter on the inside here, but that's okay. This is a handmade card and not everything turns out perfectly, but there are usually ways that we can fix things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for other crafty card making videos, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.